So to begin your crochet project, we're going to become familiar with some of the crochet terms. Obviously, this is our yarn. This is the tail end of your yarn, and the top is the working end of your yarn, and that's what you're going to use to crochet. This is your crochet hook, and the point on top is the hook. So to get started, we are going to get started by making a magic circle. We're going to take the working end of the yarn and wrap it around your pointer and middle finger, holding the tail end of the yarn down with your thumb and ring finger, making an X, looping the working yarn to the back. Take the working end of the yarn and place it between your ring and pinky finger and secure it. Now we're going to pick up our crochet hook, go under the top portion of the X, and now the second portion of the X. Now when you grab this with your hook, try to make sure to pull down to keep the yarn tight, and you are going to want to turn it and make a complete circle, and then pull that under that loop. Flip it to the back, grab that yarn. This takes some work. And you are going to chain it through, and now you have created your magic circle. Get it straightened out. There we go. All right. It is important when you are beginning your stitch to pull down on your working yarn. So you want to create a small triangle here. Right here, here, and here. You want to make sure that this is taut. Put your ring finger through the magic circle, and this helps with your stitches as well. Make sure that you have about a 1/2 inch loop between your stitch here and your crochet hook. Using your pointer finger, try to control all of the loops on your crochet hook. This will help you a lot. So to start your puff stitch, we're going to take the crochet hook, bring it toward you, go underneath, hook the yarn, bring it through. You're going to pull back with that ring finger, make it nice and tight, push it through, reach up, hook the yarn back through the loop, and now you're going to want to make those stitches nice and long, 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Now we are going to do that 2 more times, bringing the hook toward you, under, hooking the yarn, pull back with that ring finger, go through the loop, just a little bit, up, hook the yarn, pull it through the circle, and then you want to kind of shimmy it down to keep those stitches nice and long. One more time, a little bit faster. There we go. So you've done that total of 3 times. If it's gotten a little tight, grab them and pull on them a little bit to bring them down, because the next part is you're going to hook that working yarn, turn the hook down, pull those stitches that are there, pull them down to create space, slide the hook through, turn it up, grab the working yarn again, and this is called a chain, just like that. And now you have created 1 puff stitch. This is a very challenging part because you have to find the exact stitch to close up your first loop. We're going for this one right here, and you can tell it looks like 2 little V's. I'm going to slip my hook underneath it, 1, 2. I'm going to grab my working yarn, pull it through those V's, and then through the loop on my string. Then I'm going to take my tail and I'm going to pull it together, and that is going to create my first circular round. Just like that. The first thing that you need to do is you need to try to find the puffs. So here, this is a green puff, and over here we have a red, pink, white puff. If you kind of pull them apart, and this is why we gave you guys white paper, so that you can hopefully see the hole that I'm going to go into right here. So we're going to do the same puff stitch and we're going to work into that hole. We're increasing our stitches, so we're going to put 2 puff stitches in this hole. I'll demonstrate. Making sure that we have a 1/2 inch of yarn right here. Same puff stitch, 1, 2, 3, grab it, pull it through, chain across the top. In that same hole, we're going to do another puff stitch. 1, 2, 3. Pull through, 1 chain across the top. One thing that is going to be different about the second round is that once you have your 2 puffs in one space, you're going to chain a second chain. It's pretty simple, just like this. And then you're going to go to the next space between these 2 puffs right here. This red, pink, white one, green, red one. I'm going to go in that space right there. Same mechanics, 1, 2, 3, hook, pull through, chain 1 across the top. So the way to remember that is that you're only chaining 1 when the puff stitches are right next to each other. When they are not next to each other, you will have 2 chains in between them. So this is my chain 1 and this is my chain 2. Completion of this round is going to result in 12 puff stitches, or 6 groups of stitches. So here's a group of 2, 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 here's a group of 2. When you get to the end, you'll notice that you have this one, we call this a chain space. I'm just going to go through here, hook the yarn, this is a slip stitch to connect the round. Now you've made 2 rounds. In this round, it's not going to be too much different than the last round. We are adding 1 additional stitch, so it's important to monitor where you are in the pattern. We're going to start with putting 2 additional stitches between these 2 puff stitches that look like little V's. So if you pull them apart, you can see the space, and that's where we're going to go. So the same mechanics, 1, 2, 3, pull down, pull, pull through, chain 1 across the top. Remember, we're only chaining 1 because these 2 puff stitches are going to be next to each other. So there's no need to add any more space because we want them to be close. And now I'm going to chain 2. So the next one, because this is going to be our add-on stitch to create more stitches. You can see the 2 puff stitches over here that make a little V, and then you can see that there's this gap, this space right here. This is called the chain space. We're going to put 1 puff stitch here in this chain space. Nothing changes about the puff stitch. Same thing, 3 times. Turn it down, pull through, and 2 chains across the top because we gotta get to this side. And then you just repeat that. Now that you have 17 puff stitches on, I wanted to show you where the last single puff stitch goes. So it's over here. We're looking for that larger gap, that chain gap. So 1 last puff into here. 1, 2, 3, hook, pull through, make sure you pull through all of them, and then 1 chain on the top, and now we're going to chain to close it up. So go to this next little chain, I like to use my fingernails to kind of pull those loops onto my hook. Hook the working yarn, pull it through that last loop on here. And now here's this is the best part because it's so super easy. You are going to get yourself a pair of scissors, leave just a couple inches, cut the working yarn, pick it back up, hook that working yarn, turn, pull through that loop, and ta-da! You are done.